Today we'll be meeting with Maritza. She only makes $32,000 a year while living in the high cost of living state of California. But not only that, she also has a car loan that makes up 50% of her income. Remember, these conversations are 100% real and so are their finances, but this is not official financial advice. Give this video a like so that YouTube recommends it to more people. This is Financial Audit.
Hi, my name is Maritza. I'm originally from Colorado, but been living in Austin, and I'm 24 years old.
How long have you been in Austin?
Well, actually, I've lived in Austin for about 10 years, then I moved to California.
But you're based in Austin right now?
For the summer, yes.
Oh, for the summer. So what do you do for a living?
I'm a special education teacher's aide, so we get the summers off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you teach that in California then, and are you just here visiting family or something?
Yeah. My family's here, so wanted to escape California prices for the summer.
Sure.
Came back to Austin, but the difference is not that much anymore.
No, not at this point in Austin.
Yeah.
How much do you make a year?
I make $34,100.
What city in California or area?
It's a little military city called Oceanside.
Okay, yeah.
So it's located halfway between San Diego and LA. So.
How far does $34,000 get you in California?
Not that much. I really lucked out with my living situation. So I'm in a 3x2. Got 2 roommates, and between the 3 of us, we split rent. So that has made it ridiculously affordable.
Gotcha. What is your rent?
It is $750.
$750. Okay. So I assume you get paid throughout the entire year. It's not just the school year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because, you're just chilling here in the summer. Want to make sure you're still getting paid.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was at first, but then right before the school year ended, they're like, oh, yeah, you're getting paid over the summer. It's like,
good.
You.
How long have you been doing it?
For about a year now. August, it'll be a year.
Okay. And is that what you want to do, or what do you want to do?
I'm not really sure what I want to do. Still kind of trying to figure that out. Before COVID, I had planned to go to grad school and work in education, higher education. But with COVID and school moving to online, I kind of pumped the brakes, needed a break from school. So that's what I took up while I was taking that hiatus.
What did you go to school for?
I got a degree in human development and Mexican American studies, so kind of broad, and I could go into quite a few different things. The original plan had been to go to law school, but then I decided... What happened? I didn't want to do law school. I knew a lot of students who were working towards getting into law school, and I knew a lot who had gotten in, and I realized that it entailed a lot more than what I was wanting to do, and for not the kind of payout that I was wanting. Well,
we have your checking account. Yeah. I broke down some of your spending. And the California spending makes sense now. I thought you were just on like an extended vacation there for a bit. Back and forth, I was like, oh, all right, interesting.
No.
How much do you think you spent in total, or how much money do you think was taken out of your checking account within the 30-day statement, which was April?
About 2,000.
About 2,000, that's what you think came out?
Yeah.
What about 3,185?
Ooh, I don't know what I was doing in April then.
Eating out a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, lots of eating out. How much do you think you put in?
Probably a little more than like around 2,500.
3,278, which means you put in $92.24 more than you took out.
Yeah.
But what immediately made me nervous, there are transfers from your savings account.
Yeah.
So kind of subsidizing your life on the money that you already saved.
Yeah.
So is this a common occurrence?
No. I had an unexpected big expenditure in April that I didn't budget for, which is why I took part of the reason why I took out of the savings. as far as I remember. So that was part of it. I usually try not to take out of the savings, but I also don't put a lot in.
Right, and we'll get into your savings in a little bit. But what do you think you spent on food within that month? Going out to eat. This is going out to eat. This isn't groceries. Just going out to eat.
Going out to eat. Oh. I have no idea because I know I Uber Eats a lot, and in California, those fees are like half the price of what the food actually is. So if I took out $3,000, I would not be surprised if it was more than $500 on eating out. It
was $300.
Oh.
What couldn't be taken into account is if you Venmo'd anyone, like if any friends covered things. Okay. So I wasn't able to take that into account, but $300. So essentially 10% of your spending of everything that was taken out was going out to eat. What makes me more nervous is with the $34,000 income and then the $300 going out to eat in a month where there's already a big emergency and you're spending more than you normally do.
Yeah.
Why didn't you cut back on eating out in the month where there was a, big bill?
Mostly laziness on cooking. Working, surprisingly not being a teacher and just being a teacher, it gets to be a lot, especially because all the kids are transitioning from being online to being in person and being understaffed. So I get tired, and then I don't want to cook out or cook when I get home, so I just eat out, either Uber Eats it, or there's a restaurant close by that I go to quite often, which I'm usually able to make 2 meals out of what I order. But
Haunted Head Saloon, Fat Joe's, Broken Yoke, Oceanside, something on Oceanside, Subway, Ponca, Peruvian, Uber Eats, Mediterranean, Chick-fil-A, Carl's Jr., LA Zona Rosa. Yeah. So, a good amount of eating out and just within those couple pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can take a look at your savings, and what I see there is, like we already talked about, you took out from your savings. So you withdrew $400 to kind of subsidize your wanting to eat out $300. So, I mean, that's if a big expense comes up, I don't know if that means take from savings and not cut back on other stuff. I would prefer to
much better cut back on
just for a couple months.
Yeah.
We're in emergencies for emergencies, meaning nothing else can be done, you know. But you did end up depositing $250. So not great that you took out more than you put in. You ended with a balance of $855. So you have that in your savings. Is this the extent of all savings that you have?
I have another account that I don't touch. I put $25 a month.
Bucks? $25?
Yeah, that's it. I don't touch it. It's just another account that I don't use.
For how long?
I've done it for about 6 months for when I got this job. So it's not that much, but it's money for sure that I don't touch, which I like.
So this is pretty much it then.
But yeah, that's the extent of my,
Well, it makes me a little nervous when I see all this. $34,000 income, $15,000 balance on a car loan. Are you not nervous about that? The fact that the current balance now makes up almost 50% of your income pre-tax.
Not super nervous. The car I recently got, I had a car that was fully paid for, it was mine, wasn't paying on it, but it got total loss.
Really?
Yeah. And then being in California, you kind of really have to have a vehicle, and specifically for the job that I got.
You remember what the price of the car was when you got it?
It was about 15, 16, right around there. So I like just started paying, just took out the loan.
Was there a balance on the previous car?
Yeah, and it got covered and I didn't get anything back.
Okay, so from the insurance it was covered though. So why'd you decide to go with, I don't want to say super expensive car, but a super expensive car for your income?
It's really the only thing I could afford at the time. I was really hoping to get something that was around 4,000 or 5,000, but the places that, like, I was about to start the job, I needed a vehicle, and the places that I found that had cars that could be financed were all in the 15,000s.
Because you didn't have anything saved on the side.
Because I didn't have anything saved. The other places that had more affordable weren't financing, and I was kind of on a time crunch because I was about to start the job.
So why'd you feel like you had to finance through the place instead of going to a bank to get financing on the car?
Oh, so originally I did just finance with the place, and then the minute I had some money saved up, I refinanced with my bank, which gave me a lot better interest rate than what it originally was, because it was originally like 13,000, and that got cut in half.
The 6.5% interest rate doesn't make me want to vomit, but I would want to pay it off as quick as possible because it's over like 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
But didn't really answer my question in terms of why didn't you try to finance a $5,000 car, not through the place because they didn't allow financing through their place. But why not at a bank? Why didn't you go to a bank, say, I want financing for this $5,000 car I have at a dealership over here?
Yeah, I didn't know I could do that. I knew that I could take out a personal loan, and I'd gone to the bank and to kind of get an idea of how much I could get for a personal loan.
Do you know the length of this loan?
For the car?
I
think it's 5 years. 5 years?
Man.
Yeah. So right now the goal is to save. So even though I'm not officially working, I do have like a side gig that I'm doing while I'm here. And all that money is being saved up to
What's the side
refinance.
gig?
I do house cleanings.
Okay.
So I usually make about $25 an hour.
Is that going well so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
I don't want to just keep refinancing. So it's a $300 monthly payment. Which, man. Because now there's also student loans on top of it.
Yeah.
$17,060. Are those all federal or any of them private?
No, they're all federal.
So they're all on deferment right now?
Yeah. And none of them have incurred any, like that's what I took out. No interest was incurred at all.
They could get forgiven. I don't know. 10,000 is the word right now.
Yeah.
So that would leave with 7,000. But let's just assume because inflation's crazy and, forgiving might add to inflation. Let's say that it's not forgiven. That at the average 4.66 interest, $178 monthly payment. What is your car insurance payment every month?
It is $214.
What's your grocery budget?
I usually spend between like less than $200 a month, depending on what I get.
So after you're going out to eat expenses, your car payment, your potential student loan payments, your rent, your insurance, and your pretty low food budget, grocery budget, this isn't even considering things like utilities and other things that pop up, just about $2,000 a month is allocating to mandatory payments.
Yep.
After taxes, you probably bring in about $2,500 a month. Is that not scary? $500 between you and not being able to exist, essentially?
I would like to say it is. Living literally paycheck to paycheck where no money was being able to be saved at all, I'm in a lot better position than I used to be when I was in school. And then as far as like the $300 eating out, it's a lot more than usual when you were reading some of those expenses. And then
even just cutting that by half isn't
Yeah.
giving you much to play with, and you have $650 between you and not being able to pay things that are required.
Yeah. And then there's 2 other incomes that I get because I still do the house cleaning back in California.
Okay.
That usually brings in about $300 to $400 a month, and then I do some content creating also, which brings another $200 in a month.
What kind of content?
It's just an app that needs people to use it and post on it. That's up and coming, so.
Oh, that's cool. I like the side hustles. I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate the grind. What I'm curious about, I know you said you enjoy working with the children, stuff like that. $34,000 in California. You have a 4-year degree. Especially if you don't know if you want to go to graduate school or not. And I wouldn't if you don't know.
Yeah.
I would do it only if you're 100% certain. Would it not make more sense to try to find a job with a 4-year degree that's pretty broad that pays $60,000 a year, doubling the income?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first job that I got while I was in California, and through that time I have been applying to other jobs. It's hard right now, even with a 4-year degree.
How much do you apply?
Usually about 1 to 2 a month.
That's not much.
No.
On LinkedIn, you can apply to 100 in like 10 minutes. It's so easy.
But yeah, right now it's about 1 to 2, or during the school year, it's about 1 to 2 a month.
The reality is, you can't afford that car. It doesn't fit within your budget. If the loan is 50% of your income, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to have a savings fund, if you ever want to have a emergency fund that is built up 6 months that you can have so you just feel safe in case anything does happen, like the emergency payment that happened, and then actually save up, start putting money in like an index fund so you can retire. None of that happens if you keep your car, because this car is going to keep beating you down month over month for the next 5 years. And then, looking in 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, you'll probably have to get another new car. I mean, used, but I mean, you'll have to get maybe a different car. This is kind of, it just keeps going, Yeah. You're not going to like this. And this is very Dave Ramsey of me. But you need to sell that car. And then you need I don't like the fact of financing a car, but you don't have money and you need to drive in order to have your stable job. I would go with a local credit union and try to finance a $5,000 car.
Yeah.
This is because once you do that, you'll actually be able to start setting money aside to actually hit goals and have a better financial future. But with this thing, it's like choking you. It's going to be hard. Cut that out. All of a sudden you have $800, and then your side hustles and everything, you probably have $1,000 extra a month when you get rid of that. Student loans, we can't talk about that. You can cut back on food. But imagine with $1,000, even putting $500 aside every month. For an emergency fund, you need $2,000 to live. Oh, well, I don't like that either, because even if you're just putting $500 aside, it takes 24 months for you to save up a 6-month emergency fund. That's crazy. What I want you to do is somehow put $1,000 minimum aside every month towards just a basic emergency fund, which is going to take a whole year, which is still a long time. And that's just so you can have the most basic foundation required for any financial stability.
Yeah.
In order to do that, this car needs to be sold. You get a $5,000 car. You cut out eating out for a bit. Rent isn't crazy for California. Yeah, it's hard because you're really not given much wiggle room to play with. That's why You can't sell your student loans. You can't sell your rent. You can't sell your insurance. So that's where selling a car becomes an option. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around this?
Definitely something to look into, especially going to a credit union, explaining the situation, and seeing what options are available there. But another thing that you pointed out, which we've been working towards, is getting a different job, one that, makes use of the 4-year degree that I have.
That would make a big difference. If all of a sudden the car is worth 25% of your income, I wouldn't freak out. I would still try to pay it off, as quick as you can, but, it wouldn't make me want to die. I think that needs to be your next step. Mm-hmm. And if you're not having any luck with that, then, maybe it's time to sell the car. Yeah. But an income problem or a car problem, you kind of have to choose one. I would rather you choose the income problem, get up the income. So you got to start applying like 100 jobs a day. If this is something you actually want to do, then you have to put in the effort to actually do it, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that something you actually want to do?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what you want to do for work at all?
Yes.
What?
Something in student services at a community college or university, for which I have all the qualifications and putting in applications month after month.
Day after day. We're not doing month after month anymore.
Yeah. But it takes time. And honestly, if that's really the route I want to go to make myself a better candidate, I'm going to need that master's degree. So yeah, it's keep applying, probably start looking into master's degree because...
Well, all of a sudden I start getting nervous there because that's just going to cost more money in water. You can't cash flow it because you don't have any money to play with. So are you going to start going into more debt for a master's degree when there's already a debt on the undergrad and the car? Like, where does it end?
It's the hard part. But I've known a lot of people do part-time masters, work their full-time job in order to kind of counterbalance all of that. And then as far as like financial aid, I got most of all of a good portion of what it costs to go to school, because I went to UT Austin, so that's not cheap. A good portion of it paid for through financial aid,
which you owe.
Which I owe. The good thing is, or one thing I say a good thing I take into consideration is if I do go for a master's, it would further put those loans on forbearance. And if I'm able to slowly work towards my master's, especially with all the online options, which are cheaper than traditional master's degrees, and not add on to those, it would give me a little more time to save and be able to give myself that financial cushion for when I do have to start eventually paying those back.
If that's the route you want to go, then what I would suggest is immediately selling the car, $5,000 car, cutting out all eating out essentially, and save up $3,000 as fast as you can to have on the side for a few months, and then use the rest of the money that's not being taken up eating out or with the car, and then cash flow masters as best you can. So you can't add more debt here. Unless, I don't want to justify debt with having necessarily a larger income, but just seeing this $34,100 sitting there, knowing that your student loans, $17,000, that's scary. That scares me.
Yeah.
One thing I did see in here was $100, and then another $100 went to paying off a personal loan. Now, you told me that $2,000 personal loan is all paid.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. That's exciting. Why'd you take out the personal loan in the first place?
It was the down payment for the car.
Oh no, he financed the down payment? Why does this keep happening to me?
It was a two-year loan paid down in 6 months.
It was Oh no!
It was
a 2-year loan on a down. How much was the down payment? How much did you actually put down?
I put down $1,500, and then I used the other $500 in part to pay back the loan, because I wasn't going to use the full loan.
Well, how much money of your own money did you put down, or was it all that personal loan?
Oh, no. So it was $2,000 total that I put down. Part of it was that personal loan.
I've never heard of people financing down payments, and within just a couple weeks, this is the second time I've heard it.
Really? Yeah, no.
Good news, it's gone.
It's gone.
I would never do that again. I feel disgusted seeing that.
Yeah, no, it was not
This is why
what I wanted to do, but...
this is where the emergency fund comes in place. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oof.
So what are your financial goals?
Outside of getting another job,
like 5-10 years, where do you want to see yourself financially?
5 years, have the car paid off if I keep the car. Have at least a 6-month emergency savings, and then start like investing, so that I have to have the money to start investing, but have that money available to start looking into good retirement accounts and more of that financial stuff that I'm not very well learned in, but also I'm not in the financial position to even start looking into.
No, you're not. Not yet.
And so, at least for like 5 years, be able to be in the position where I can actually start doing something.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to delay investing anywhere beyond that, because these are like the critical years where you want to start getting money in there now, or else you're going to miss all the compound growth that gives you essentially the money you're needed to retire.
Yeah. So
I would make it a priority for the emergency fund to be completed within a year and a half, which on this income's hard. There's so many different paths you could go down, whether it's the higher income, whether it's the sell the car, whether it's the grad school and then higher income. And we talked through all those options, but at a minimum, I would definitely have that emergency fund saved up within a year and a half.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Not really. And it's something that I look at a lot. Having had my car crashed was a really big hit to my finances in general. And so, like short term, if I decide to keep the car, is just refinancing to get that lower interest rate.
The interest rate's not what's killing you right now. It's 6%. It's the total of the loan, and then over 5 years. Yeah,
I mean, refinancing it with a good amount put down, I'd be able to negotiate down the payment. So.
Let Maritza know what you think about her financial situation in the comments below. If you want to be on a financial audit and you're able to come to Austin, Texas, email castingcalebhammer@gmail.com. A special thanks to my 4 Cups of Coffee supporters, Abdil Martinez, Mark, Josh Bennett, and Anthony. Give this video a like so that YouTube recommends it to more people. Subscribe and stick around for more. Thanks.